Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome to another Caster Chronicles spoiler video. Before I get started, if you guys are looking for Caster Chronicles singles as well as sealed product, be sure to go to Happy Little Hug Factory. There's a link in the description below. Be sure to click that link so they know we sent you. They have a lot of cool stuff, including Caster Chronicles singles and Force Will singles. Sealed product, including pre-orders, are now up for the upcoming set of Caster Chronicles, so be sure to check that out. It's I think $58.95 or something like that per box for the pre-orders. So pretty excited about that. I'll probably be picking up a box here eventually. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about this set. So be sure to do that if you guys want to support people who are supporting this game. So this week of spoilers, there's some pretty cool stuff I'm pretty excited about. So starting off, we have Polly, which is a pink caster. Her tap ability is cancel target automatic ability of an allied Tengu. So that's pretty interesting. It could depend on what the Tengu does. It is a automatic ability, so you can cancel the automatic ability that a lot of these Tengus have, which is at the end of the turn they bounce to the bottom of your deck or some other form of that or something like that. So you can cancel that ability before it goes there, so you're able to keep it on the field. So you get all the benefits with none of the side effects. So that is pretty awesome, I think. It definitely a must-have in Tengu decks, which there are going to be a lot of for sure now. Because next we also have Chronicles Tengu 48, which is a 5-cost pink servant with attack and defense of 3,000. At end of turn, put this card on the bottom of its owner's deck. It has a passive of all Tengu you control, gain enter effect of put target caster from an allied graveyard into your hand. So this is another way to cycle casters from your graveyard back into your hand that you've either discarded from effects, if you've banished from other effects, a lot of different things. I think we've already seen a couple interactions last week's in that spoiler video, so that's a pretty cool effect, especially in a Tengu deck. If you're constantly discarding casters or banishing casters and you're constantly playing Tengus, it's a way to just keep cycling through your deck and playing with your graveyard, which is something I always like. Next we have Trainer. Is she a Pokemon trainer? That's interesting. It's a 1-cost orange. Banish this card, search your deck for a level 1 card named Polly, and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. Play this ability only if you don't control a card named Polly. So Polly was that very first caster we just talked about. So that's pretty cool. It's a way to run a bunch of Pollys and run a bunch of trainers without worrying about overlapping them, and it's a way just to consistently get that Polly out there that you probably really want to play. So yeah, and you're not losing a caster as well. You're losing one ether you might have produced that turn, but that's not too big of a deal. Next we have Chronicles Tengu 48, a 5-cost green servant with 3,000. End of turn, put at the bottom of the deck. All Tengu you control get enter, return target servant to its owner's hand. So that's really strong in my opinion. So that basically makes it so you can just start bouncing a whole bunch of servants your opponent controls, especially if you're able to play Tengu pretty easily, or if they're entering from your break area or cheating in from your deck, anything like that really. Next we have Sheer Gray, a 1-cost green servant, or caster I mean. Tap, produce an ether of any element. Play this ether only to play Tengu. So another one of these. That's really awesome. Once again, always great to have things like this, especially in these sort of tribal decks, which are going to be Tengu, so really awesome. Next we have Strawberry Daifuku, a 3-cost orange servant. I love that we're getting more sweets. I love it. It's a 3,000. Enter. You may discard a sweet. If you don't, banish this card. So you have to discard a sweet to put her in. However, that's not a big deal considering the sheer amount of bouncing from the graveyard that orange already has, especially specifically for sweets. Like you could just discard a cookie and then tap your orange Peko to put that cookie back into your hand, or discard a 3-cost sweet. You could discard another Strawberry Daifuku. Well, okay, that wouldn't be a good idea, but a 3-cost sweet or less sweet, and then you can do orange Peko level 2's banish effect to put it into the field. Different things like that would be pretty awesome. We have Dundoko Bao Tengu 48, a 4-cost yellow servant, 1,000 Tengu obviously, has break, so that's awesome. At the end of the turn, goes on the bottom of your deck. Enter, draw a card. If this card is put into the field without being played from hand, draw an additional card. So you basically enter. If it's broken, if it breaks in, it comes into the field, you draw 2 cards, you swing with it, it bounces unless you have the caster to cancel the automatic ability to put at the bottom of the deck, or some other way to cancel that, or something around those ways. And obviously if you have those other Tengus on the field already, you get to bounce those enter effects. She could enter, you draw a card or 2 cards, then it also bounces a servant, and then it also does whatever the other one was, now I already forget, different things like that. Next we have another caster, orange, 1 cost Ari. You can either tap her to put the top 3 cards of your deck into your graveyard, or tap her, banish a servant, put target servant from your graveyard into your hand. So you have a choice of abilities. It's a cool way to mill your deck, especially if you know what's already on the top of your deck to get access to certain cards. We already have a lot of bouncing, whether it's bouncing a caster back into your hand. She has banish a servant to bounce a servant, and there's a lot of other stuff that messes with the graveyard. So it could be essentially a way just to add more stuff to your hand by milling, and there's other effects you get from milling as well. So it'd be pretty interesting to see decks that revolve around something like that. Next is Zenki Bao Tengu 48, 5 cost yellow servant, 3000, same thing, bounce spawn your deck at end of turn. All Tengu you control gain enter, put a card from your hand into an allied orb zone face down as an orb. So it's not a may, you have to do it with that enter effect on the field, and so you're just populating your orb zone. So this yellow card, combined with other yellow cards, you could have a very extensive orb zone. So if you run a deck that just runs a bunch of these yellow cards and a bunch of break cards, this could turn out to be really interesting of just populating your orb zone with a crap ton of cards your opponent has to get through, and they all have breaks, so they're constantly firing off effects, especially with the amount of Tengu 48 that have break and all that. It could be really interesting. Next we have Takabao Tengu 48. So this is a 4 cost blue 1000 with break. Enter, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, then put them back in any order. If this card was put into the field without being played, search your deck for a card instead. Then shuffle your deck and put that card on top of it. So if it's able to break, you get a pretty cool search effect, searching for any card you want and putting it on the top of your deck. And then you just have to wait to draw a card, and that could be from an enter effect from another Tengu, or other effects as well. Or just your opponent passing their turn, because break, so maybe one of your orbs broke, and when they pass turn you get to draw that card now. So that's a really good Tengu in my opinion. Just searching deck for any card is always great in any card game. Next we have Cunning, a 1 cost blue conjure. It's an earnest as well. Target enemy player reveals their hand. So, pretty straightforward. Next is Suela Merenga. It's a 1 cost blue caster. Banish this card, search your deck for a Tengu, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So that's pretty decent, especially with the fact that we can bounce casters pretty reliably. Not with just the cards that I mentioned here, but a lot of other cards in this set, or in casters in general. So that could be proved to be pretty interesting. This one's really cool just for the idea and art, is Cleopatra. So it's a 2 cost pink servant, 500. It's a heroic spirit, which is something from Force of Will actually, being a heroic spirit. Has last word, so when it dies, target enemy player banishes a servant. So that's pretty cool. I always really liked banishing because it's a way to get around servants and stuff like that that can't be destroyed, or that they can prevent certain things. So this is a way just to get around that. Unfortunately, your opponent gets to choose what they banish, but it's still a great effect, especially for only 2 cost. Next, for 3 cost, lastly actually, we have this 3 cost servant, Yang Guifi, I don't know, 1000 heroic spirit. It also has last words, so when it dies, you put the top card of your deck into an allied caster zone face down as a caster. So that's kind of interesting. That could work in your benefit, or it could not. So I don't know how great that is, especially for 3 costs, but it's definitely pretty interesting, and especially with heroic spirits, that could be kind of cool if they do anything with that. So yeah, that's this week's spoilers. We're getting a whole bunch of Tengu 48s. We went from getting like 1 per set, probably more than that, but I remember there being like 1 or 2 in the last 2 sets, and suddenly we have like 1,000. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to be pretty excited to see what people are able to make, and if I'm able to make anything pretty interesting with Tengu 48s. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of any of these cards below, and we'll see you guys next week.